Okay, with me, TNT analyst Larry McReynolds. Larry, this at the Quaker State track. This night racing last night produced some very interesting racing in the second half of the race. Are the drivers for Cup going to learn anything from Xfinity going into Cup tonight, or is it going to be a completely different animal?
No, that's a great question. You know, the Cup cars are substantially different from the Xfinity Series cars, but the bottom line is it's the same mile-and-a-half track, same characteristics, same conditions. And I think the biggest thing that happens at a track like this, like it does at a lot of tracks, when you get into the nighttime, and remember, nobody has had any practice. All they did was cut one qualifying lap. So there's a lot of unknowns heading to this 400-mile race tonight. And I think the biggest thing you know is that the track is going to gain grip. They're going to start handling better. That means the speeds are going to go up. The intensity is going to go up. I don't know that we'll see a calm first two stages, but you better believe we get that final 100-lap stage. That's when it starts ramping up. That's when people start getting more aggressive because, again, their cars start feeling better. They start handling better. And a lot of times that's when some people get in trouble.
Now, taking a look, some of the drivers, who do you think is really going to benefit by having increased grip out there and increased handling? Some of the drivers are licking their chops. Who do you have in that list?
Well, I look at qualifying, and you see a lot of Fords up front, and that's what we saw here in February. And you got to believe if they're that fast, they probably have taken drag out of their car, straightaway speed. But there's no free lunch in aero. If you help the drag, you hurt the downforce. So as the track gets into the nighttime and the track cools off and gains grip, that means those cars that maybe don't have as much downforce, like a lot of the Fords, they probably are going to benefit. If it was a day race and hot like right now, they might be in trouble. But if it gains grip, that's going to help their handling cause. The worst thing that could happen to them, we'll keep our fingers crossed for everybody, is we do get this race in tonight, because if we don't, it'll run tomorrow in the heat of the day, and that's when they might be in trouble.
Yeah, that could be a whole, because you can't work on your machine after you qualify. You got
the cars are impounded, and even if we get going and we get rained out, we have to come back tomorrow. You've got what you got.
And with that, you know what, the Fords, they've won the last 7 poles at this track. What makes Ford so special when they come to Echo Park Speedway?
Anytime you come here to Echo Park Speedway, or any speedway for that matter, with a Ford, you know you've got Roush H horsepower. And we know all the engine guys, they all work hard on horsepower. Hendrick, ECR, TRD, but Doug Yates and that group, they know they go that little extra mile just to make sure they have good, fast engines for these super speedways. But I think that Ford has a car that maybe don't have the downforce that maybe the Chevrolets or the Toyotas have, but they've got some drag out of that car. And when you're running wide open in qualifying, you may not be able to run wide open in the race, but when you're running wide open qualifying for one lap with fresh tires and everything has a lot of grip, that's going to make you fast if you got just a little more horsepower or just a little less drag.
And finally, a kind of a real couple of fun questions for you. Do you have a short list for a driver that might come through tonight, and do you have a bracket picked out and a winner on that?
I do have a bracket picked out. Of course, this is the in-season challenge. We've got 32 teams, 16 matchups tonight, and it's single elimination through bracket style. When we get to the Indy race, the Brickyard 400, it'll be 2 drivers, 2 teams versus each other, and it pays $1 million. If you finish second, we appreciate you participating this year. Come back again. But yeah, I filled my bracket out. If I got a shoe in tonight, I think it's Denny Hamlin, who's the #1 seed. He's going to beat Ty Dillon, who is the last seed. But I do have an upset. The guy that ran second here in February, Carson Hocevar. I think he's going to finish in front of Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney will have a good run. Ryan Blaney's numbers here at this mile-and-a-half hybrid super speedway are pretty good, where Hocevar was fast here in February, finished second. I think he's going to take Ryan Blaney down. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I've got Hamlin and Larson going head-to-head in the Brickyard 400, and I got Kyle Larson winning it all.
And you know why I'm going to take your bracket seriously, Larry Mack? Because you got some upsets in there. You're doing some anticipating, and I like that. That's one of the things you got to do. You can't always pick the favorites, because you certainly won't dominate your bracket.
Well, that's what's going to be fun about this in-season bracket. When you just look at the racetracks, they're not conventional racetracks. We start here at this hybrid super speedway where they're going to be running 3 wide. We had 50 lead changes in the February race. Then we go back-to-back road courses, a Chicago Street course in Sonoma. Then we go to the Monster Mile, Dover, a track we only go to once a year. And we finally are back at the Oval at Indy. We went back there last year. I just think there's so many unknowns, and I don't think there's any clear-cut favorite in any matchup throughout the entire in-season challenge.
With us, Larry Mack. Hardly wait to hear your analysis tonight with Jeff Burton. You guys dominate, and I think that you're going to be side drafting off each other. Thank you.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Excited about TNT having these 5 races in-season challenge, and excited about Jeff Burton and I doing an alt cast, something that's not been done in NASCAR, and we'll be on True TV. Tonight we come on at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, almost simultaneously with the TNT broadcast of the race.